The million dollar question: how do entrepreneurs transition from self-employed to owning a business that turns a profit? My name is Chris Waters, and this podcast has the million dollar answer. Welcome to CEO Secrets. Hey guys, it's Chris Waters with CEO Secrets. I'm super excited for our guest today, Bess Freedman. She is the CEO of Brown Harris Stevens, and she is one smart cookie. She's got her law degree. She also was formerly at the Corcoran Group, Barbara Corcoran's company that she started, head of marketing there, and then took over as CEO at Brown Harris Stevens, a company founded back in 1873, which is pretty wild because for anybody watching this podcast, you know that the National Association of Realtors didn't even get formed until 1908. So that's how deep the roots are for the company she's at the helm of. So Bess, welcome to CEO Secrets. How's it going?
Good. So good to see you, Chris. Thank you for having me. And I'm just going to correct one thing. When I was at Corcoran, obviously I was an agent for a bit, and then I worked in management. I wasn't the head of marketing. I worked with marketing, but was not the head of that. Just want to clarify.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know. I read in your bio that you were a very successful agent there before getting into a leadership position, and then went on to lead things at Brown Harris and Stevens. So I have a quick question for you. I saw you were on an interview with CNBC just recently, and you were talking about real estate prices in Manhattan. And typically, if you look at like the trend of real estate prices over the last 100 years, cities typically move in these like 20-year cycles where people move into the urban core and then they start spreading out. And so I know real estate prices in Manhattan hit a peak in 2015. And so I'm curious, is Manhattan at this inflection point where people are starting to spread to the outlying areas? And there's going to be this long cycle ahead of, prices moving in a downward direction as people start spreading out, or is this just a temporary thing in Manhattan?
I think, prior to the pandemic, we were already in a price correction. And I think that we could have a further correction, but it's really, Chris, hard to say. I don't think it's going to be anything like the 70s where you kind of had this white flight from the city. My brother and I have a bet. He lives in Rhinebeck, New York, and he thinks there's going to be a lot of people leaving New York City. I don't agree with him. And, we're all forecasters at this point. We don't know. I think you're going to see some people decide that they want to leave the city for various reasons. And then you're going to see some people that don't, like me, who loves New York City and won't leave. And I love it. It gives you so much, there's so much to the city. And so it's going to be hard to say, but I think we'll see a shift, a little bit of a change in the upcoming months. But I don't think you're going to see this mad rush, an exodus of people leaving. People said that after 9/11. A lot of people were saying, everyone's going to leave New York City. And it was quiet. But then when January hit, the market roared. This is a resilient city. I say that over and over again. And, people want to be here for the food, the culture, just the vibe, in New York City. It is something like no other city in the world. So I have great confidence in it.
If you're an investor, what are the best buy-side opportunities for investors right now? I feel like I've somehow magically ended up on all of these email lists of people pushing me, buildings for sale, and they're presenting it at a very favorable cap rate of like 8-9+%, which is very hard to find in anywhere in the United States. What's your take on that?
There's an oversupply in New York City. So for people who are interested in buying, and it depends on where specifically, you can find really good deals in different segments. It depends on where, because there's some things that are priced well, so they're not going to negotiate too much. But I was talking to an agent yesterday who she said that she had a listing that was priced over $3 million. She's in contract now for 2.3. She said it was priced a little aggressively, and that's on the west side, where there's a lot of supply in that particular building. So not all square feet are created equally, as we know. It depends on the product and what it is. And now is not the time for aspirational pricing. But if you are interested in purchasing in New York City, you can get great values on the Upper East Side. even on the west side. It just depends on what it is. And rates are, as we know, really good right now. So you can take advantage of all of that.
So where would you be buying personally? Where are you investing?
I live in the Upper East Side, on the Upper East Side. I've been here for a long time. I've moved to different apartments throughout, but I have 2 teenagers now. I've raised them here in New York City. They know nothing but New York City. They both love the city. They take the subway, they walk. They're city kids, you know, and so I love it here. I think maybe in due time, when they're both out of the house, would I move downtown? Possibly. I love Union Square. I love the Village. I love different parts of the city. But right now, this is my home. You know, it's like I know all over this neighborhood, and I'm really happy here. And there are a lot of projects on the Upper East Side. So I think for right now, I would stick to the Upper East Side personally.
What kind of discount do you think you could find, like relative to 2015 on a building?
You know, it's really, it's hard to say that because it depends on comparables. You know, every building is different. And, you know, we've seen a correction of, you know, roughly maybe 10%, you know, for just doing overall. But then again, it depends, because there are some listings, and I swear this is the truth, where we've had multiple bids and bidding wars. If it's a special property that hasn't come on the market in a long time, we do have these trophy listings that are special. So it really depends on what it is. If there's something unique, it will always render a higher price.
I want to shift gears for a minute to talk more about Brown, Harris, and Stevens. I think if I read correctly, you're just north of 50 offices across the United States. Is that accurate?
That's correct. Yep. And you can, for your life, to make it easier, you can just call us BHS.
Okay. Yeah. And I assume it's not Brown, Harris, and Stevens. It's just Brown, Harris, Stevens.
You got it. It's
okay.
Brown, Harris, Stevens, and a lot of people just call it BHS.
Got it. So from an expansion perspective, what's your overall strategy? Are you guys, is it like a corporate expansion? Is it franchise? Like how are you guys expanding?
No franchise. I mean, it's just so you know, Terra Holdings owned Brown, Harris, Stevens, and they also owned a company called Halstead, 2 very powerful real estate firms that did very well. And there was always a talk about, should we just, you know, put them together? We've been having that discussion for quite some time. And myself and the CEO of Halstead started discussions over a year ago and started thinking about it. And then when the pandemic hit, you know, the ownership basically said, if you guys can piece this together and do this, now would be a great time. You know, it would make us a unified company, one brand, all the resources in one place. So we decided to do that, and we worked hard and got that done and announced it recently. And the goal is we have over 55 offices, 2,500 agents, the best in class. We're not interested in quantity, we're interested in quality. You know, we really we have a special culture that focuses on real estate and doing things the right way, and we don't want to water that down. You know, we have Connecticut offices, Palm Beach, New Jersey, Manhattan, Hudson Valley. Like, we want to focus on doing things the right way.
There's a lot of money coming into the real estate industry, you know, SoftBank giving, Compass, you know, just crazy amounts of money. I'm sure you get asked this question all the time. What are you guys doing to compete with with a company like Compass? Because I feel like that they're trying to fulfill this same niche of really high quality agents going into luxury markets. As a CEO, how do you differentiate yourself and stay one step ahead of them? Because
I can't, you know, our competition is ourselves, you know, and I'm not competing with Compass because I don't understand their model. You know, they offer hundreds of thousands of dollars to agents, 100% splits. Their profitability, it doesn't make sense. You know, the margins in real estate, as you know, are laser thin. So what they're doing to me doesn't make any sense. And I question, and I've said this to Rob, I've been on panels with Rob and I know him, and there's some leaders there that I'm very close to and I like very much, but I question their ethics. You know, you can get away with certain things. You can whistle at some guy's wife and it's not illegal, but is it right? Should you do that? Should you try to pull people away from relationships where they're happy when they've said no many times? And I question what they do, the nonstop calling, them trying to recruit during a pandemic. it's just been, I question their ethics. And I think that we need a whistleblower. You know, look what happened with WeWork. Look at Enron. Look at Bernie Madoff. There's a herd mentality and there's the lure of the founder. And I question it. I really do. I think somebody needs to start to dig into what they're doing and look at it closely, because I don't see how they get profitable. I just don't get it.
So given what's going on in the real estate industry, everybody trying to come in and disrupt it, what are the external opportunities you see as the CEO of Brown Harrison Stevens to, I'm going to try to stop that, by the way. I'm just going to start saying BHS. That's a tongue twister every time. What are the external opportunities given what's going on in the market to, you know, create opportunities to grow the company further?
Well, Chris, we are real estate. We are in the service and information business. And so we need to equip our agents with the best technology, teach them how to do things right, be ethical and fair. And that's really the best thing that you can do. You know, there's no secret weapon with technology where you're going to all of a sudden, you know, expose and do the best things and be number one. Really, it's about doing the hard work. You know, data is not knowledge. You know, these agents have been working for decades. They have an understanding of the market, and they have built trust with their clients over time. You know, you can profess your values or you can practice them. And we practice them every day by building a culture of purpose, integrity, and doing things the right way. And, you know, that's what it's about. It's really about our agents, and they are the best in class. And that's what we work on. And that's who we hire, are those sorts of agents.
I don't want to get too much into the minutia of this, but the value proposition to agents to join BHS.
You got it. You did it. BHS.
So I'm down here in Central Texas, right? And so, and my group down here in Austin, and we're in 11 other markets across the U.S. and Canada. You know, we typically help the average buyer and seller. So I'm not as versed in the luxury space. I know some of the brands. So, you know, when I read Brown BHS has been around for so long, I was like, holy, where have I been? I haven't heard of BHS. And I've got lots of friends in real estate in New York, but my question specific to the value proposition of BHS to attract agents on the technology front, like what does the tech stack look like? Like, what are you offering to agents to, you know, help them, like CRM, lead generation, et cetera?
Just so you know, our ownership invested in our listing system, and we created a technology called Resource. Will Zeckendorf actually led that and to his incredible success. So our listing system is so great that we sold it to Corcoran and Douglas Elliman. So we offer a great listing system. We also have built something called Maya, M-A-I-A, which in Greek means mother. And it's a vehicle of information that will integrate with everything. The foundation is Salesforce, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yep, we use Salesforce.
Yeah, of course. So we have all of these tools. So you need to have technology intelligence, which we have, and the agents love what we offer, and it makes sense for them because, you know, real estate has been slow to get tech savvy, as I'm sure you know. And, you know, sometimes too much tech is not good because you also need up here. You need emotional intelligence, which is dealing with people, and you need market intelligence. In fact, Brad Inman is one of the people that says that you need tech intelligence, emotional intelligence, you know, and you also need to be able to have market intelligence and speak to buyers and sellers and share that with them. It's not just tech, it's all of those factors. So we have a platform that offers all three, and I think that's what's been the key to our success.
On the lead generation front, with the luxury market being primarily relationship driven, is there some kind of lead generation opportunity for brokerages like yours to offer to agents, some kind of lead generation system that attracts, you know, really high-end real estate buyers and sellers? Does that exist? Do you guys have something in place? Is there a scalable system you can offer, or is it just not possible?
I have two responses to that. First is we do have an IDX on our website so that we do get leads from our website, and, you know, those are handled accordingly. But I have to tell you, I really do believe, and the vast majority of our agents, you know, it's a relationship business. Real estate is all about people and who you know and how they build trust with you. Our agents, their business comes from their clients and they refer them. So any high-end, you know, person who needs to sell their apartment, even if it's a studio or a one bedroom, typically they know somebody. It's a relationship. They get referrals. Those leads, like what Street Easy does. Are you familiar with what Street Easy is?
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
What they do is completely confusing to the consumer. And I know a lot of agents have invested in Street Easy and aggregators, but I think that it's a misrepresentation. It doesn't display the listing agent properly. And if you go on their site, it's confusing. They post somebody who is a building expert who's done one deal in the building, when I, in fact, will know an agent who's done 40 deals in the building and is truly the expert. So if you can pay to play, that's confusing the consumer. And I think that fundamentally, it contradicts our core ethics. So I'm not a fan of Street Easy, and they know that. I don't think they do it right. I think they could do it right, but they refuse to.
Do you have any opinion or perspective on the iBuyers that are coming in and buying properties and offering instant liquidity to homeowners and then reselling the properties?
That's really not, I understand that a lot of people are putting a lot of weight on that. It's not really what our business is about. We really get into the weeds with people. We really work with people. We know them intimately, and we really focus on that. We're deep into relationships with all of our buyers and sellers and each other because they trust us. Trust is kind of the building of, small moments over time. And we have built that. As you said, we've been around since 1873. And so we're a legacy brand and a company that has built trust. You can't just show up on the scene and have that. You have to earn it. And we have.
You and I operate in two different worlds.
I know.
My real estate groups are like well-oiled machines. Everything's lead generation driven. And we turn thousands of properties with very few salespeople. So we're in two different worlds.
So interesting to me. It operates, remember also New York City, we're a big co-op market, which is, and so in that environment, you really have to get through boards. There's a whole procedure. It's less transactional and more relational. What you're talking about is more transactional.
So the thing I think we can both agree on, even though we're in two totally different worlds in the brokerage world, is that people are looking for immediate gratification. And in the iBuyer definitely serves more of the average home buyer and seller, 200,000 to 800,000, for example. So I guess the closest thing to an iBuyer in the luxury space would be a company like Concierge Auctions that offers, basically they'll get your property sold in 30 days. And one of their advisors is Barbara Corcoran. What's your, Concierge Auctions, for example, they seem to be growing like substantially. Is there an opportunity there? From my understanding, Concierge Auctions has an app like eBay where you can luxury real estate, somebody can bid on an app and it gives the seller, guaranteed liquidity in 30 days. What's your take on all that?
I don't know a lot about it. I have to tell you that I am a huge fan of Barbara Corcoran. I really love her. She was at Corcoran for 1 year when I was there. And she, to me, is like the Madonna of real estate. She has reinvented herself over and over. She's so smart. And I love that she just tells things like they are. And it's refreshing, that authenticity. I don't know a lot about that. I just, I'm just not aware of it, but anything she does usually turns to gold. So it's probably a great concept.
What were some of your greatest lessons that you got to work side by side with Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank?
Oh, well, I wish I would have gotten to work closer with her. I just think that the beauty of Barbara Corcoran is that she creates her own, perception is reality. She knows how to spin things and present things and do things. And she's not afraid to go out on a limb and try things. She does it the way that she sees fit. So I think those are the things that I've learned from her, that she has courage. And I love that about her.
I've had the pleasure of getting to meet her a few times, and I did an endorsement deal with her for TV. And, her personality in person when you meet her versus what you see on Shark Tank were, to be honest, quite polarizing, and it's memorable to say the least. She seems a lot more calm and collected on the show Shark Tank, but in person, I mean, she's got a big personality.
She's like popcorn popping. I ran into her, it was last year. I was in Shake Shack here on 86th Street, and she and her daughter came in, and, you know, I said hi to her, and, you know, she's just, she is, you know, she walks in the room and she, you know, you pay attention. She's an incredible lady and a leader, and I have such respect for her. Really do.
So what about for you personally? What have been some of the greatest things you've kind of uncovered in your journey as a CEO of BHS?
Oh, well, you know, I that's an interesting question. I think I just always try to do the right thing, you know, and even if it's controversial, I try to focus on, you know, making sure our values, that we're practicing them. And I sometimes get some headwinds, but what's the sense in having power if you can't use it the right way? You know, there's this whole idea of, does power corrupt or reveals people? And I think, you know, I want to try to make sure we're always doing things the right way. Profitability matters, but I think you can lead with a conscience, and I want to try to always do that.
What's the biggest struggle right now at BHS? Like, what are you trying to, like, what's keeping you up at night that you're trying to overcome and improve and work on?
Well, you know, Chris, the thing that's probably, I would just say, the most frustrating for me is, I would say, some of the tactics that our competitors are using. I know recruiting is an important piece of what we do, recruiting agents. But during the pandemic, you know, Compass was just unwilling to stop. They were the calls, the texts, you know, nonstop with our agents. And I kind of felt, I know that that's how they're trying to, like, you know, get more and more agents, buy more and more people, bully the marketplace. I just felt it just was so unsettling to me that they would do that. And even my agents would call me and say, these guys are disgusting. They don't take no for an answer. It's just not attractive. So I think, you know, we're dealing with a lot of that. For the most part, we've done well. No agents have left because of it, but it's just unsettling. And I think when the big reveal and the curtain gets pulled back, they're not going to have a lot of friends supporting them because of their tactics.
What is there anything you can do right now with what's going on with your competitors that can differentiate the organization to give you such a large competitive advantage that these recruiting tactics will mean essentially nothing because they're, you know, so they're still behind, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you can do is just keep doing things the right way. You know, I'm not going to pretend to be something we're not. We have to stay true to our values and what we do. And the vast majority of our agents know that they're a part of something special, that the culture has purpose and it means something. And that, you know, we don't throw away crazy money and try to pay people to come, that we help them build their business so they feel secure, they trust us. So we're going to keep doing what we do the right way. I'm not going to change course because other companies are doing these crazy things. Let them blow up themselves. That's how I feel.
Speaking of blowing up, what's your crystal ball say on how long they have left until these businesses implode?
You know, it's such a question. Their agents have told me that they're going to, at some point, get rid of the whole brokerage and just try to IPO their technology, which I know people saw. Rob tried to get every agent to look at what they were doing with their technology last week, or maybe it was the week before. So I don't know what's going to be. I don't know that they're going to get more funding. I don't think Masa from SoftBank is going to be inclined to give out more money to them. If I had to guess, I would say in the next year or two is going to be very telling about their survival, because I heard their burn rate is something like $30 million a year. I don't know if any of that is true. Maybe it's more. I have no idea. But I know what the margins are in my business. I know how much money I make on every dollar. And, you know, you really have to watch those things. So I don't, you know, they're in the red. How they're operating is in the red. Who knows what will happen.
The traditional profit margins in the brokerage space, from my understanding, is roughly around 5 to 10%. Is that what you're seeing in the luxury market as well?
That's exactly right. Yes. Yeah. You're right.
Wow. That's tough.
No, but I don't think you can, and I'm sure you would agree with me, you can't, I don't think technology will ever take the place of what a real estate professional does. I think there's something about engaging, trusting, working with people. It's a people business, and technology can help, and technology empowers you in your relationships, but it can't replace what the agent does. I don't believe so at all. I think it's just, a piece of what we do. You
That,
disagree with me? You can tell
well,
me.
I mean, it's the big divide between the luxury market and the, helping the average family in America. I would beg to say that if you're talking to brokerages in the $200,000 to $800,000 price point, you can build an incredibly scalable business through lead generation and not being referral based, which sounds wild, but you can. The real estate transactions don't happen as often. People are, moving like way across, the world, from one end of the United States to the other. And it's just it's a different beast.
I was going to say it's a different model, because many times, we'll
give me some more nuggets around how to be a better CEO, running your organization. I mean, you've talked about values, you've talked about like sticking to your plan of attack and not letting competitors, mess up your, I'm assuming the strategic plan you guys have in place. Like, give me some more little nuggets around for people in our audience, like how to be a better CEO among the fierce competition in this market to differentiate yourself beyond some of the, foundation DNA stuff like, core values, mission, vision, things of that nature, culture.
Well, I think, you more than anything, you have to take care of yourself. And, I think, I really believe that the world will see you the way you see yourself. And so you have to do the things that if you, exercise to feel good, take care of you, quality time, like you said, you have children, quality time with the people that you love is absolutely everything. I can't emphasize that enough. Everybody's always focused on, the noise of making money and all the superficial stuff. And that's not where it's at. Where it's at is sitting around the table with people you love and sharing some food and being grateful that you have the gift of life. I'm not trying to be all kumbaya, but the reality is that it's a gift every day that you open your eyes. And if you feel good, that's even better. And that's where you've hit the lottery. And I feel like that every single day. And so everything else for me is, just a gift, being able to work at a company that I love and I respect the people I work with. I'm always reading and diving into things and trying to get better and figure out how we do things better. I believe in an idea meritocracy, which means that if people have good ideas, bring them to the front. Let's do it. We are a democracy and we do compromise, and I just try to be open-minded about everything I do, and that's why I think I have been fortunate. I've been blessed. I have very good people luck in my life. A lot of good people that I've met along the way who've looked out for me, who've been good mentors, and I've been fortunate.
So if I'm hearing you right, set yourself up personally for success through your mindset, prioritizing what's important to you. Yep. Okay.
Chris, that's it. If you are not the driver in your own head, if you're the passenger and all this noise is controlling, you're going to lose. You have to kind of focus, take care of you, take care of yourself. And if you do that, everything kind of falls into place. And see what you want to do. Anybody out there that has a dream of something they want to achieve, you can do it. Put all your attention on it, focus on it, work for it, study it, be prepared. And it's achievable. I really, really believe that so strongly.
You've got a lot of books behind you. What's your favorite book out of all those, and what are you reading right now?
I'm reading this book right now, Unleashed, Frances Fry and Ann Morris. She's a Harvard Business School professor. She was in the Journal over the weekend, Frances. She has a TED Talk too, and her sister, Juliana Fry, works at Brown Harris Stevens. This is one of the best books on leadership I have ever read. I'm almost done with it. Teaches you how to empower others, about culture and strategy. I love this book, and I love Frances. She is a queen, a teacher, and a leader. And I look for people like this in my life. I like to read fun books too, like John Grisham and those sorts of things. But this book has been just a pleasure for me. And I think anybody who wants to learn more about leadership, get it. It's called Unleashed. It's so good. Awesome. There's a plug for you, Frances.
I've got one last question for you. Sure. I saw the subtitle of that book, The Unapologetic Leader. So when we look at when based off what you've said, when we look at the tombstone of Compass, what's the date, if you had a crystal ball, that Compass fails? What's the date the thing shuts down and dies, or somebody buys it? I need what's your crystal ball say? What is the day that they fail, they shut down, and everything, the curtain gets pulled? To give me a date. I need a solid date.
Oh my God, Chris. It's hard because I don't like to wish failure upon anybody, but they
unapologetic leader.
All right.
So proud. Come on.
They may have earned it. I will say that I believe in the year 2021, we will be seeing, I don't know the exact date, but I think you're going to see a day of reckoning, if I had to guess.
2021.
We'll see. I could be wrong.
It's good. Unapologetic leader. Frances,
you caught that. You caught that. You're so good, Chris. you're so fun to talk to. I have to say, you're great to talk to.
Well, Bess, thanks so much for being on CEO Secrets. You've shared a lot of nuggets with us, and hopefully we'll connect again in the future.
Thank you so much, Chris. Take care of your family. Sending you much love. Be safe.
Thank you.